Welcome back. Hope everybody is having a blessed and amazing day. Pelicans Daily presented by Fan Arch. I'm your host, Dylan Bruton. Make sure to like, to share, to subscribe. You know the drill when you're chilling with Dill. All right, y'all. Well, it's off season. It's a little slow. Ain't much movement, momentum going on. Everybody worried about preseason, including me, preseason football. But, that don't mean there's still not time to talk about those New Orleans Pelicans, man. What is going on with our bench? What is going on with our starting lineup? These are questions that many people have, and we're only going to find out, as more time progresses. Now, we know that largely the starting rotations is going to, revolve around Eve or Kevon Looney at the 5, maybe Derek Queen at the 4, or put Zion on at the 4 and have Derek Queen back up at the 5. Then you got Herb or Trey Murphy the third at 3. Then at the 2 guard, that can get a little interesting because you might slide Trey to the 2 because he fits well there, or you put Jordan Poole there. And at point, when DeJounte comes back healthy, or maybe Jeremiah Fears, the young gun, you know what I'm saying? There's a lot of different options. And then we all know with our guys off the bench, guys like Sadiq Bey, he's obviously going to play a big role in being a three-point spacer, being a defender as well on the wings. And my guy Chris Lambert did an article talking about, the tough decisions that are going to have to be made when it comes to the bench. And most likely, Jose Alvarado and Jordan Hawkins are going to be those guys coming off the bench that are going to have to fight for every minute, fight for every opportunity. And I talked about Jordan Hawkins a video ago, so I was like, let me talk about my guy Jose, Grand Theft Alvarado. Now, with Jose, the thing with Jose is we all know what Jose is capable of, right? He's in that type of, I speak on it often, but that J.J. Barea role, or even like a better scoring and better passing Pat Bev. You know what I'm saying? Where you're this like short, diminutive point guard, but you provide that energy. You get under players' skin. And that's all great and fine and dandy. But the hard thing is, it's like, where does that all fit into the roster that we're building? Where does it all fit in the layout that we have? You know what I'm saying? Just because Jose is a great defender, point blank, period. He is a great defender, but the only thing that you have to account for is he's not the tallest, he's not the biggest, and he's also not the most efficient. So it makes it a little hard because you're trying to figure out, okay, like, I want to utilize your skill set, maybe even kind of use you as like this, Inspector Gadget, human Swiss Army knife, but is the juice worth the squeeze? That's the question being asked. Now, with Jordan Hawkins, Chris went a little harder on Jordan than he did with Jose. And I'm a little biased because, again, Jayhawk is one of my favorite players on the team. I love his game. I still think he's got an incredibly high ceiling. He might not be able to fully reach it with us. That's just the sad reality of things, but who knows? But I feel like it's too soon to give up and get rid of someone of his talent caliber. But with Jose, I think more because we've got some talented point guards, and we might be still in the market for others. As previously mentioned, like Malcolm Brogdon's name has floated around a lot. And if Malcolm Brogdon is there, I love Jose. But Malcolm is getting those minutes over Jose. Like, it's not even up for debate just because Malcolm has championship experience, albeit they didn't win. He's been a Sixth Man of the Year award winner, Rookie of the Year winner, one of the more underrated guards of the last decade that can operate both at the 1 or the 2, kind of in a Drew Holiday role where it's like, if you need me to go off, I can. I really can go and do it. So we're going to see. But with Jose, I don't want to frame it like he hasn't been producing, because he has. He was one of our best players last year. But as I always mention, think about the old days. Those the old days, like what Slim Charles told Bodie when Avon and his crew came through kicking through. Try to say that 5 times fast, right? When they came through on the corners and they took over the towers, you know what I'm saying? It sparked a new regime. We are in that type of mode right now. I don't know who the Marlo of the situation would be, or the Chris. Maybe it's President Dumars is Marlo and Troy Weaver is Chris. And this for anybody who's seen The Wire. If you ain't seen The Wire, go do yourself a favor. HBO Max is your best friend. If you don't got HBO Max, I don't know what to tell you. Maybe Hulu has it. I don't know. Don't take my word for it. But you know what went on last year, right, was an aberration because we were supposed to be a competitive contending team. So it's going to be tough of like, can you replicate that same success on a winning team? We've already seen Jose do that for us when we went to the playoffs last year, but this is a whole different regime now. This is a whole different culture shift. But we still got to think about the type of players that we do need, which is a perfect segue to my next topic. Also, Chris Lambert, shout out to him. So we have one final roster spot remaining. As previously mentioned, I talked about Malcolm Brogdon being a potential possibility. Another guy that I've talked about a couple times on the channel, Amir Coffey. I don't know why we haven't given him a call. Maybe we have, and just certain logistics, certain shop wasn't able to be taken care of with his agent. But floor spacing is something we greatly need. Okay, because we struggled shooting the 3-ball last year, and we've got a lot of bigs that are going to cloud the paint. We got a lot of beef up front, which is great. A lot of teams cannot say that. We are one of the few that can, but you do still need to have that floor spacing. And it's not Steph, sorry. I know he probably gets annoyed, but Wardell, I'm talking to you, Dell Sr. Major hats off, respect to you. I have a lot of respect for you. But why did you name your kids, or because people don't know that Steph Curry's name is actually Wardell. He's Wardell Jr. But why you give them such similar names, man? Steph, Seth, they roll off the tongue similar. That's just my minor gripe. But Seth Curry has carved out a great career for himself in the NBA. I remember when he transferred from Liberty and came over to Duke. He did his thing. He really grinded and earned his spot. You know what I'm saying? Great veteran, great shooter. 43% from three. I mean, he's one of the best 3-point shooters in the league for the last decade. You know what I'm saying? And we need more spacing. You know what I'm saying? I would love for Jordan Hawkins to be that guy for us, but it remains to be seen, unfortunately, just because of his inconsistency. And I mean, last year, right, Jordan Hawkins shot right around 30% from three, and we expect him to be shooting in the 40s. Seth Curry, granted, he's got age and experience, and he's also a 3-point specialist, versus Jordan Hawkins does have a little bit of shot creation ability, a lot more than given credit for. But Seth shot, nearly 46% from three, around 45.6. I mean, that's an insane percentage. If we get that out here, just imagine the amount of drive and kick opportunities that can lead to easy threes for Seth Curry, right? With the players that we have, with the personnel that we're putting in place. So it's tough because it's not like a super flashy move. It's not one that's going to have people going, "Oh my God, watch out." Woo! No, but it's the little moves that make the biggest difference, right? Think about the Celtics, right? In 2008, in the summer of 2007, right? They made all the splashes in the world by getting the big three, right? Trading for KG, trading for Ray Allen. They utilized different draft picks and getting rid of some of the younger players. But it was the veterans that they brought in, guys like James Posey, who was a champion in Miami, Sam Cassell, who won 2 rings in Houston, who was a very instrumental part on a couple, really good Clippers playoff teams with Elton Brand and Cuttino Mobley. And then he was on that team in Minnesota that nearly, in KG's MVP year, that almost should have went to the finals. You know what I'm saying? A guy like P.J. Brown. P.J. Brown played for a long time, was a very good player for the Heat back in the day, was one of the better defensive bigs. So it's those role players. A guy like Eddie House. Eddie House bounced around in and out of the league, but he found his footing with the Celtics, and he hit a lot of big shots. So it's like, it's not always those star guys. It's a lot of times those role players. Think about the last dynasty of the NBA, the Warriors, right? Of course, all the attention was on Steph, Clay, Draymond, when KD came through, even more, right? But it was the guys like Sean Livingston. It was the guys like Maurice Spates, Andre Iguodala. It was the guys even like Ekpe. I'm sorry, not Ekpe Udo. Festus Ezeli. Wrong big. Even though I met Ekpe Udo, very nice guy, and I'm glad he's doing well on the coaching. I think he's either coaching or front office. It's a shame he didn't pan out the way expected. But my point is that it was the role players as well. Andre Iguodala won a Finals MVP. I don't agree with it still to this day. I still think that was Steph's award. But Andre Iguodala, right, was so important that Max Kellerman got on TV and said if aliens came to attack Earth, he wants Andre Iguodala to take the last shot to save us. So it's like the role players play such a valuable part. The stars, everyone's going to focus on them. Everyone's going to have all eyes and ears on them. And for right reasons. They are the stars, right? Think about in the sky. Stars shine bright. I quote the Beanie Siegel line a lot. This is one of my favorite lines of rap history. Play your cards, go against all odds. Shoot for the moon. If you miss, you're still amongst those stars, right? Stars drive the league. Stars get people into their seats. Stars push ratings. But you know what wins championships? Well-rounded rosters. Look at this OKC team this past year that just won, right? Having a guy like Isaiah Hartenstein made such a big deal. It paid such great dividend for them because they needed that toughness in the paint. All love to Chet, okay? Someone called him, I forgot what, they called him like Oxtail Boy or something. And I was dying, yo. I'm like, Chet, you was not growing up eating no oxtail. Who are you fronting for, man? But Chet's a very talented player. J-Dub, super talented. Shea put together one of the greatest single seasons we've ever seen, right? But it was the guys like Hartenstein, the guys like Caruso, the guys like Cason Wallace, right? Who played a valuable role coming off the bench. When called upon, they were ready. A guy like Isaiah Joe, right? You know what I'm saying? So it's the little play, not the little players, but it's the players that aren't as mentioned. It's the players that don't command that same attention who sometimes play the biggest role. Think about the Lakers from back in the day. Robert Horry, Derek Fisher, Rick Fox. I mean, I could go on and on and on and on about role players who played a tremendous impact on teams that found success. We are trying to create success. Therefore, we need guys who are able to buy into a winning program and a winning mindset and who are also ready to contribute. A guy like Seth Curry is still playing at a high level, doing what he does that runs in the family. Shoot. And hey, look, watch out, because I think he got married to Doc Rivers' daughter. They might make a great two guard. They might make one of the next great shooting guards out there. Stay tuned. So it's just a guy like Seth Curry would fit so well. Consummate professional, great locker room guy. I'm all for it, right? Chris, I love where your mind is at, my brother, because I'm with you on that. Bring in Seth Curry. But speaking of stars, now, speaking of those stars. Now, I just want to say first, shout out to, I don't know off that, but this is also on Pelican Debrief, but Miss Jordana Clark. Now, we have not been introduced, but I just want to say hello and salute to you because I reference a lot of material from Pelican Debrief. Me and Chris already got, that's my guy. That's my dog. We already locked in, and I hope we can be, I hope we can have that rapport too. I'm going to find a way to reach out to Andy Quake. We're going to get cool. Somehow, somewhere, I'm going to get all them on the show. Just wait. Just watch. But, Miss Jordana, I have to say, with this article, now I understand the talking point. I understand, but it was a little bit harsh. A little bit harsh on my guy Zion. A little bit harsh on Zion Latif. I get it. There are questions, and it kind of goes in conjunction with, Brian Windhorst, Tim Bontemps, and Tim McMahon discussing, the different goals for each and every NBA team in the most recent episode of Brian Windhorst's podcast in the Hoop Collective. And they were talking about, with New Orleans, there's still questions about if Zion is still the guy to build the team around. I'm going to say this, right? With all respect to Windhorst and with all respect to Miss Jordana, But Zion ain't going nowhere. Zion is here to stay. Okay, I might as well sound like his own. I might as well sound like PR. But Zion ain't going nowhere. Again, where are you finding 25, 7, and 5 in under 30 minutes a game? At 25 years old. Do you know the caliber of stats that he's putting up? Where are you finding that elsewhere? Where? Please let me know, because that does not, the type of production like that does not grow on trees. So I understand all year there was, maybe we should put a package together and blah, 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 blah. Okay, but if you're not getting a Giannis caliber of player, then what are we talking about? Getting picks just to have picks? No. Having a million picks and we don't know who's going to do what and what the, no. No, 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 no. That does not, that's not thorough. That's not how these things work. You need to have some bit of a guarantee. You need to have some bit of a foundation to build from. And Zion, in all his 6'6", 275, is plenty of foundation to build from. Okay? Now, I understand injuries, right? I understand that. That's been something that he does have to work on. Because again, I've been saying since episode 1, put down the beignet and get some broccoli. Yes, 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 yes. Off the court stuff, nah, I'm not even going to really hearsay. That's all I got to say about that, okay? You know, we ain't going to go for those type of games. The real know what's up. And like I've mentioned, and I don't know if Jordana's watching this video, but I hope Miss Jordana, but I hope she is. I know people who know Zion, right? He's a great guy. He's a great young man. So I'm not with this whole, I get you're just doing your job, and I'm not like, no, I'm not trying to come down. You look, I've said worse about Chris, and me and Chris cool. That's my dog for real. So I don't want to come across like I'm being disrespectful. But we have seen this offseason. There's a difference, right? Hear how President Dumars has been glowing and raving about Zion. Hear how guys like Tim Legler, who has no connection to the organization. Tim Legler never played in New Orleans. He has no connection or ties. He's been previously very critical about Zion over the years, right? We obviously know Big Perk. Big Perk was a Pelican. Big Perk has been very critical about Zion, but yet he is speaking still positive about what Zion can achieve. And the thing is, Zion is 25. I still do not for the life of me get why Zion gets talked about like he's 35. The man is 25. Has he gotten everything right? No. But this notion of being a bust, I'm like, please point to me in NBA history or any sports history where a quote-unquote bust averages over 25 a game, where a bust averages 23 a game for their career. Please, in any sport, whether it's baseball, football, when you put up those equivalent of numbers, I'm sorry. You might not be the world breaker, face of the league, whatever. Very few are that. But that is not a bust. Okay? There's been busts in NBA history. Guys like LaRue Martin. Some of y'all like, who? I'll go more modern. John Vesley, Darko Milicic. I love his YouTube channel, but you have to. We'll put Kwame Brown up in there. Love his YouTube though. Shout out to Mama's Cooking. Kwame Brown. You get where I'm going? You know what I'm saying? Those are bust. Like guys that Mario Hezonja. What's his name? Frank Ntilikina. Like I could just go on and on and on and on and on and on. Michael Sweeney, like I'm naming names at this point. Michael Olowokandi, you know what I'm saying? There's been busts who legitimately did not produce. They were drafted and expected to be stars or at least all-star, at the very least, or at least serviceable players, and they couldn't even do that. Zion does not have that problem. He's a 2-time all-star. And he could have been a 3-time all-star without injury. I mean, there's a lot of different factors. But when he puts it all together, watch out. But Miss Jordana, it's all good. It's all love. Like I said, I don't want it to come across like I'm hating. No, you're doing a great job. I see that you recently became a writer with Pelican Debrief. Salute to you and shout out and wishing you the best. But I got to disagree with your article. Respectfully, of course, right? But I'm just going to implore you, go back and watch Zion in that 2024 playing game versus the Lakers. Expect that type of production from Zion. Dark horse MVP candidate. You heard it. You heard it first. Okay? Hey, that's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say. But I'm just not like between the constant articles of people trying to put together these horrible trade packages for us to get rid of Zion, for us to get pennies, for us to get pickles and pretzels. Like, no, again a number one pick who was deemed as a generational guy, who was compared to Sean Kemp, Larry Johnson, Blake Griffin, Charles Barkley, LeBron, even though I never saw that comparison. But he's been compared to guys who are either All-Star Hall of Fame, right? Why? Why for the life of me is there a topic about bust? Has there been disappointing things? Yes. But why do we rush to the utmost extreme? There is a fine gray area between Hall of Fame and bust. There is a fine line in between. Why is it that no one can seem to find that nice middle ground? Am I the only one who can do that? Am I the only journalist in America? I know I can't be. What's going on? What's going on? Anyway, I just had to say that. I gotta, speak my piece because I'm a Duke guy, right? I don't like to talk about my Blue Devil brethren, but I don't like to talk about Zion when it's not put into context. Now, I will give Miss Jordana her credit. She did her research. She did her homework. This is a very objective article. I just don't agree with it, right? Opinions, everyone has them. I'm entitled to it just like she is. But she presented it well. And, the biggest thing that I've seen so far in this offseason is the fact that President Dumars has been very vocal about the fact that Zion has not balked or ran away or stepped down or did anything to run away from. I said it twice, but did anyway to avoid the responsibility of becoming a leader, because that's the biggest thing. Now, if people want to know what I say about Zion and what needs to be improved besides his diet and maybe adding a mid-range to his game, it's being a leader. That's something that he's got to work on. I know he's got it in him. I know he can do it. He's a lead by example type of guy, but he's got to be more vocal this year. He's got to talk. He's got to talk. But get the guys in motion, get them going. I mean, granted, we've got some good tutelage now there with Kevon Looney, right? I really like that move a lot because as a locker room presence, he's gonna have a huge impact for us as a young team. DeJounte, even though he's hurt, he's still going to be a good influence for our young guards. So Zion, he just has to take that leap in that role. But he can do it. He can do it. So, yeah, let's all just have a little faith, guys. Just a little bit. Word to 50 Cent, just a little bit. All right. Responding to y'all. So, I appreciate y'all been really active in the comment section. I'm going to respond to this is not from the most recent video. This is from the video from 2 days ago. Because like I said, I did 4 topics, so that's what caused. But my guy Christopher Church 2653. Do you think players like to do work on their own at least for the summer, then come back and show what's up, especially as young guys? But as a vet now is the time I'd hook up with peoples. I think the difference in today's NBA is that yes, you do have guys who are gonna be very off the grid. They don't want nobody to know what they're doing, and I think that's just so they can get a leg up on the competition. But then sometimes, yeah, you'll see guys pull up to open runs and open gyms or different showcases, or they'll go to Drew League, or they'll go up to New York City, go to Dykeman. I mean, there's a lot of different places for them to still play and still stay in game shape. It's like a boxer taking tune-up fights before they got that big, that big fight, the one that everybody is watching and looking for. My guy David Weimer 8244. Zion has had a torn meniscus, a broken hand, a broken foot, in at least 5 different hamstring strains. I don't trust Zion's body to play 35 minutes a night for 65 plus games at a dominant level and hold up. He is more susceptible to injuries because of the injuries he has had. With his size and style of play, he is just not built to play that many games without injuries. Woo, David, and then because Christopher wasn't having it, he says, so don't be a fan. David is a very objective fan. David's an OG fan. I believe David said he's been a fan since the New Orleans Jazz days. So I mean that goes before my time. But Christopher Church said broken bones are stronger and torn meniscus twice as rare. Oh well, I've torn both my meniscuses, so I guess I'm in a rare category too. And hamstring strains can happen to anyone. I kind of disagree. He's been injured, but nothing too crazy. But then David Weimer said, once you have had a hamstring strain, you are more susceptible to more hamstring strains. That is true. Look at James Harden. He was never the same after that hamstring injury. I mean, he's still a good player, but he is not at all where he was in 2018, 2019. He's just not. He never will be again either. You have partially torn the muscle and it does just heal stronger. There's also no hamstring brace to keep it from happening again. That is true. So you have to be very intentional in your rehab process and how you're strengthening yourself again. Don't be a blind believer. Oof. Dude has averaged 35 games over 6 seasons. To expect him to play 65 plus games, averaging 36 minutes a night, and playing at a dominant level all season is just unrealistic. When he is fully ramped up, he ends up getting hurt and misses a lot of time. That's because of his overall size at 260 plus pounds and style play, exploding the basket and exploding off the floor at full effort just about every play. Well, okay. So David, again, like I said, David really knows ball. I got to salute David because he is, speaking some real reason and all that. I will say this, David. I think that President Dumars is definitely in his ear. I also think Troy Weaver is in his ear about maybe adjusting and doing some things different with his play style. I think, you mentioned the exploding off the floor. I think about Derrick Rose, about if that was something that he had gotten a little better tutelage for, he likely would still would have been playing at an MVP level longer. It's such a shame because I truly think that if Derrick Rose never got hurt, the whole 2010s would have looked a lot different. I love Steph. Steph's one of my favorite players of all time, but Derrick Rose was different. They were only a year apart. Derrick Rose was in the 2008 draft. Steph was in the 2009 draft. But it was a special time. Special time. Shaq68, talk to your boss about the clickbait titles. At least have something that matches the content spoken. Shaq, look, hey, I'll put in the word. I am gonna be talking with them soon. So I put in the word, Shaq. Christopher Church 2653. I do really like the possible relationship between Willie and Joe. I do as well too. I think there's obviously some overlap as Willie's a former player, Joe's a former player, so I know those guys have definitely brushed shoulders and ran into each other. I think that Willie is definitely going to be held accountable under the tutelage of Joe. And I think it's going to pay off for him. And if Willie is not the guy, then you cut bait, you live to fight another day. But I would like to really see, how does that pairing and duo work? Reborn Legacy E77Z, that's exactly how I feel about Draymond. Yeah, look, hey, all respect to Draymond, but I know a lot of people feel where I'm coming from on that. 100%. Christopher Church 2653. Jordan also had more trade value. He did. That was also an underlying reason for some of the resentment with him and Draymond, was just that Jordan was, the new hot shot. And, not saying Draymond was the old dog that couldn't learn new tricks, but it's a little different when you're the older guy that's been around and versus you're the young and up and coming. People are ready to pass you the baton. It makes sense. Last two, yeah, and they're both from Christopher. Zanos about to unlock the stones. Hey. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You could not live with your failure, but where did that bring you? Back to me. They called me a madman. They've been calling me a madman all offseason, but just wait till the season hits. And when I'm right, I'm gonna be cool about it, but deep down I'm gonna be like, told you so, told you so, told you so. But and the last one, yo, Herb looks big now, looking grown. Yeah, I just saw a picture today that the Pelicans social media posted of Herb, and yeah, Herb is it's Herbert. Don't call him. He said, I ain't Herb, I'm Herbert. Big Swervo. Woo. So I'm very excited to see what he does. Glad we got him on a 3-year deal for great money. I mean, he earned it, he deserved it, and I think he's gonna have a big year. But yeah. So that's gonna be it though. Appreciate y'all for all the love and support. Keep it going, keep it rolling. And we got a lot to look forward to. We got a lot to cover. You know, it's a little slow right now, but don't worry. Things are gonna pick up. So bundle up. All right. Anyway, y'all, enjoy the rest of your time. For those who are going back to school, those who, you know what I'm saying, had a long weekend, had a long weekend, all that. Hey, enjoy yourself. Take the time to give yourself some time to relax. But make sure to like, share, subscribe, tell a friend, support is free. Shout out to Fan Arch. Much love, everybody. Stay blessed, stay amazing.